Hi, in this video, let's talk about thinking feature. So many code samples which we are going through as of now, we already have covered two. So we used Gemini 2.5 Flash model, so which has the thinking feature enabled by default to enhance the responsible quantity. So you should be aware that this may increase response time and token usage. If you prioritize speed or wish or minimize the cost, you can disable this thinking by setting up the thinking budget to zero. So we will see how we can set the thinking budget to zero. But all what I wanted you to understand from here is that by default, this thinking budget, thinking this feature, it's already available whenever you use the model. And because of this, the amount of money that you have to pay, the billing amount, it will be like more, because what it does is that it it thinks something, for example, and then it will generate the content. So I mean, because of this thinking, the quality of output, for example, let's say if you ask like help me like with how I can use AI in my life or in your career. So if you have this thinking budget enabled, it gives you the good quality of output. But if in case this is like zero, it gives like a moderate output, and that is like a generic one, I can say. Okay, let's see how we can disable this one. Let's go into our collab. Let's select, let's delete all the cells. And again, as like machine learning, if you're already familiar with the machine learning, so you write the code once and the same code you use multiple times, but by tuning the parameters. So similarly in generative AI as well, it is not that hard to learn, but again, it all depends on your interest. So let's see how we can write this one. So I mean, you're going to see the same code again and again and again. So that's what I wanted to say. Import Gen AI. We already have seen this library, and also from Google dot Colab, import user data. So this one, it's because we have the key over here, and we are going to use that key. And then I'm going to import one more library here, which we haven't seen. Google dot Gen AI import types. Okay. So this is the new library over here. And now we already have the key here, and the name is Google API key. I have copied that one. So I'm going to key the API key. API key is equal to user data, this one, dot get this key. Right now we have the API key. Now let's initialize, start the client. So what we are going to do, our API key, we are going to feed it to the Gen AI. So client is equal to Gen AI dot client API key. What is the API key here? This one. So I'm passing the API key here. Okay. So let's initialize the response. And now what I'm going to do, again, we already have seen this one. I'm going to call this as response. I mean, you can call any name. That's fine. So client, this one, dot models, because we have like so many models. That's the reason I have mentioned like models. And I mean, there's always this kind of a dilemma that when I have to put yes and when we don't have to put yes. But again, this comes with the practice. And generate content. And now, so for example, model, I'm going to use Gemini 2.5 Flash for now still. And then contents, let's ask something like explain about Vertex AI in few words. Okay. And then what the intention of this video, so to ensure that the thinking budget, it should become, I mean, we should set this to zero. So for that, so this is nothing but we are going to tune the hyperparameters, and that all the hyperparameters comes under the config, and the config comes under the types. That's the reason we have these types. So over here I'm going to write config is equal to types dot generate content config. Okay, so we're passing the hyperparameters. So you should remember that we have imported the types library, and the types dot generate content config. And then so thinking configuration config is equal to types dot thinking config thinking budget is equal to is equal to 0. So what this does, this disables the thinking feature. And now let's print response dot text. Let's see. Okay, so what it has done, Vertex AI is cloud unified. I mean, Vertex AI is Google Cloud's unified ML ops platform for building, deploying, and managing AI and ML models. Okay, the same one. So we are going to generate. So what I'm going to do, I have copied here. I have pasted it over here, and I'm removing this thinking budget is equal to 0. And by default, let's see what it's gonna respond. It is running. You can see it here. So here if you see the output, so in the second one we have removed the thinking budget is equal to 0 parameter, and by default it runs. And then it is telling that Google Cloud's unified is a unified platform to build, train, and deploy machine learning models, simplify the entire ML lifecycle. If you see over here, the context is same because I have asked to generate a few words. For example, let's say if I do this one, I have removed that one, and can see, and this time it will generate a long content because the thinking budget is not 0, it is thinking even before framing the words, and it gives the better quality output. You can see it over here. Oh my god, see over here. So I mean, again, you can ask anything and it explains if it already knows about that. So this is about the thinking feature. Thank you for watching this one.